Well, Snap, the parent company of Snapchat, has filed paperwork for an initial public offering. The popular photo messaging app, which has 150 million daily users, could actually go public as soon as March.
The company is expected to be valued anywhere between 25 and 35 billion, that's a B, dollars, meaning Snapchat could be the biggest U.S. stock market debut since 2014. Alex Barinka from Bloomberg is here with us now to talk about this. So, Alex, really interesting. An IPO value for this company is going to be huge. What do you make of that?
That's right. It's huge, and even though the fundamentals of the company maybe aren't. So Snapchat's able to actually file confidentially. This is a confidential file to list because they make less than $1 billion in revenue. But that valuation has inched up from $18 billion privately to basically in the ballpark of $25 billion. Market value is what they're going for. Our sources have told us they're looking to raise about $4 billion in this IPO next year at the high end of kind of the range that they're looking at. So yeah, a big buzzy, what we call unicorn, potentially going out in the first quarter of next year.
So why were they so quiet about filing this IPO? What do they have to gain by doing it quietly?
When you do file under the Jobs Act confidentially, you can do this thing called testing the waters, where the company can actually go out and have conversations with investors that you typically couldn't have before, or you can't have if you go out and file publicly. Eventually, they will make this filing public, the S1. It'll hit at least 15 days before they start the whole roadshow process when they go out and formally pitch investors. But that's kind of the value there. You can kind of tweak your message and see what the public market investors actually think about your listing.
So it's interesting. This company, Snapchat, has become a darling of Wall Street and Silicon Valley. How does it compare to past IPOs like Twitter and Facebook, which were before them those critical darlings?
It'll be an interesting comparison because those are also the companies that public market investors are going to compare it to when it lists, when it comes to valuation. So think back to Facebook's IPO, basically a disaster. Remember, I
remember when it came out, and
they couldn't get the stock trading, but once they worked through all of that, Facebook's done well, but they've been able to prove kind of the second act past being this social media newsfeed. Twitter, on the other hand, the actual IPO was, for all intents and purposes, a successful listing, but some management teams sometimes forget there's life beyond listing day.
Yeah, the fundamentals have been weaker than expected.
Right, so that stock popped after it listed and since has fallen through the floor. The company can't find a buyer. So there's those two kind of comps there that you would think that Snap wants to go out and be the next Facebook, right? The big successful social media company. Or as Snap calls itself, a camera company, and not go by way of Twitter, which has really kind of struggled to figure out what its second act is.
Does Snapchat have sort of a leg up because of these fake news stories that have evolved on Facebook? I mean, is that good for them?
So the goodness, I think, in investors' eyes is going to be in ad dollars. So remember, this company is aiming for just over $350 million in revenue this year. They only, according to eMarketer, have 2% of the U.S. Digital ad spend. That's small, and it's 30% of the social media users. So if you're an advertiser and you're thinking about where you want your content to be seen and what kind of users, things like that could play into the equation. And Snap, you can bet they will be pitching, we have this millennial audience that's very sticky and very engaged. So if you want to get your name on a filter in front of a picture or in the Discover content feed in Snapchat, come to us. It seems like they're going to have to, that will have to resonate with advertisers to start kind of pulling in those ad dollars.
One of the things I've always found fascinating about Snapchat is, and this will change once they become listed, is how they actually do business, how those companies who are on that Discover page of Snapchat get there, and what kind of algorithms they use. Are they going to have to start to disclose that? That'll open up the doors, obviously, for some competition.
It seems like they will, and the metrics that they start pointing to will be really important. Again, Twitter kind of struggled with that, pointing to monthly active users and engagement, and then saying, actually look at these other numbers. But when you look at Snapchat, they've been really secretive, and it's kind of ironic that they confidentially filed. They will have to kind of show what's going on under the hood, because Facebook just this week has had issues with advertiser metrics, and you can be sure that investors don't want to be caught in a sticky situation like that with another company.
All right, we'll be watching. Alex Barinka from Bloomberg, thanks for stopping by.